The Deep Space Outpost Orbit 9 hung in the silent dark, far from Earth, far from help. Inside, Lisa Morgan stood alone on the observation deck, her hands resting on the cold glass. Outside, stars glittered like frozen sparks, unmoving, uncaring. It had been 14 days since Earth went quiet. No messages. No signals. Nothing. Just silence stretching across the void like a shroud. Lisa had not slept well in weeks. Her uniform was wrinkled, her hair pulled back in a messy knot. She rubbed her eyes and stared into the black. The station felt empty, even though a skeleton crew remained. Everyone moved like ghosts, speaking in hushed tones, jumping at every sound. Fear had settled into the walls, into the air, into their bones. Then, the soft amber chime rang through the deck. Not red alert, not emergency, diplomatic arrival. Lisa frowned. No one was coming, not now, not with the Galactic Coalition broken and Earth missing. She checked the comms board. Nothing scheduled. Nothing expected, yet there it was, a ship gliding into view. Sleek, black as night, shaped like a folded wing. No markings. No identification. It hovered just beyond the main docking bay. Motionless, patient. A single green light pulsed from its side. Steady, calm, peaceful. Protocol said to deny entry. To scan, to question, to wait. But something in Lisa's chest pulled. A feeling she could not name. Not fear, not hope. Something older. She tapped the comm. Control, this is Morgan. Authorized docking for unknown vessel. Peaceful signal confirmed. A pause. Then, you sure about this, Lisa? Yes, she said. Open the bay, the airlock hissed. Cold mist spilled into the corridor. Lisa stood at the entrance, heart pounding, hands at her sides. She wore no weapon. If this was a trap, it was too late now. The inner door slid open. She stepped through. And there she was. Tall, taller than any human, with skin that held a soft silver glow. Her eyes were violet, deep like twilight, with narrow pupils that caught the light. Long black hair fell past her shoulders, unmoving in the still air. She wore armor that shimmered like liquid moonlight, shifting with every breath. No helmet, no weapon, just presence. I am Kyla, she said. Her voice was low, smooth, like water over smooth stones. I come not as envoy, not as warrior. I come as one who remembers. Lisa blinked. Remembers what? Earth, Kayla replied. Before your kind forgot how to listen. The words hit Lisa like a punch. She swallowed. Earth is gone, silent, we don't know why. Kayla tilted her head slightly, studying Lisa's face. Gone or hidden? Before Lisa could answer, Kayla took a step forward. The air around her seemed to hum, not with sound, but with something deeper, like the quiet between heartbeats. You are weary, Kayla said softly. Your eyes hold too many sleepless nights. Your hands tremble not from fear, but from holding on too long. Tell me, what do you desire? The question caught Lisa off guard. Desire? She hadn't allowed herself to want anything in weeks. Not safety. Not answers. Not even a hot meal. She had buried all longing under duty. I want to know if we're alone, Lisa said, voice barely above a whisper. If Earth still exists? If my people are still alive? Kayla's violet eyes softened. Desire is not always a place or a person. Sometimes it is a truth. Then slowly, deliberately, Kayla reached up and unfastened the collar of her armor. With graceful movements, she removed each piece. The silver plates clicked softly as they came free, falling to the floor with muted thuds. Beneath, she wore a simple tunic woven from something that looked like starlight, soft, flowing, alive. Lisa stepped back. Why are you doing this? Because truth cannot wear armor, Kayla said. And you deserve to see me as I am. Not as a symbol, not as a threat, but as one who once walked your world. Lisa's breath caught. You've been to Earth? Long ago, Kayla said, her voice distant as if recalling a dream. When your cities were young, when your songs still reached the stars. We watched from the edges of your sky. We listened to your music, your poetry, your laughter in the rain. We loved your chaos, your courage, your art made from pain and joy. Then why leave? Lisa asked, her voice tight. Because you stopped singing, Kayla replied. You turned inward, built walls of steel and silence, stopped looking up. We thought you had chosen to be alone. Lisa looked down at her boots. It was true. Even before the silence, Earth had grown quiet. Wars, borders, fear. People stopped sharing stories, stopped dreaming together. The stars became just lights, not promises. But you came back, Lisa said, lifting her eyes. Because someone still sings, Kayla said, stepping closer. You. Even here in this cold metal box, your heart hums a song of hope. Faint, but there. Lisa felt tears prick her eyes. She blinked them away. Is Earth really gone? Kayla reached out, her fingers hovering just above Lisa's wrist. Warmth spread through the air, not hot, but calming like sunlight through clouds. No, Kayla said. It is veiled. Your own scientists, in their panic, activated the planetary shroud, a defense system buried in old archives. They thought it would protect you from invaders. But it cut you off from everything, even your own colonies. Lisa's mind raced. The shroud. I've heard whispers. Classified files. Thought it was myth. It is real, Kayla said, and it can be undone. But only from the inside. Someone must return. Someone who remembers what Earth truly is, not just land and cities, but spirit. Me? Lisa whispered. You, Kayla confirmed. Not because you are the strongest, but because you still care. Your desire is pure. That is the key. Lisa looked at Kayla. No armor, no mask, just truth in violet eyes. Why help us? After all this time? Kayla smiled, a small sad curve of her lips. Because once a human child gave me a flower on a beach in California. She was no older than 6. Said it was for the stars. I kept it, pressed between pages of my star charts. For 300 years. Lisa's chest ached. You remember that? I remember every kindness, Kayla said. Even the ones your kind has forgotten. Silence filled the corridor, but it was different now. Not empty, but full. Full of possibility. How do we get through the shroud? Lisa asked. Kayla turned and gestured toward the docking bay. Her ship glowed faintly, its obsidian surface now pulsing with soft blue veins of light. My vessel carries a resonance key. It can match the shroud's frequency, but it needs a human biosignature, not codes, not commands. Your intent, your desire, your heart, and if I'm not enough, Lisa asked, then the shroud will reject us, Kayla said simply, and Earth remains lost. Lisa took a deep breath. She thought of her mother's voice on old video calls, of the smell of rain on dry soil, of her little brother's laugh echoing in their backyard. She thought of beauty, of home, not as a place but as a feeling. I'm ready, she said. Kayla nodded. Then come. They walked together down the corridor, past empty halls and flickering lights. The crew watched from doorways, wide-eyed, silent. No one stopped them. No one dared. As they reached the airlock, Lisa paused. What happens if we succeed? Your people wake, Kayla said. And perhaps they remember how to sing again. And you? Lisa turned to her. Will you stay? Kayla looked at her. Really looked as if seeing not just Lisa, but all of humanity in her eyes. I have waited 3 centuries to hear that song once more. If it returns, I will listen as long as I can. Lisa reached out, hesitated, then placed her hand over Kayla's. The alien woman did not pull away. Instead, she turned her palm up and gently laced their fingers together. Outside, the stars watched, silent no more. Weeks passed. Earth breathed again. The shroud was gone, but its shadow lingered in the minds of many. Government scrambled to explain the silence. Scientists studied the strange energy patterns left behind. Most people, though, did not care for reports or theories. They cared for each other. Neighbors shared food. Strangers hugged in the streets. Old songs returned to radios not because they were new, but because they were true. Lisa stayed aboard Kayla's ship, orbiting quietly, watching. She spoke daily with leaders, yes, but more often with ordinary people. Farmers in Kansas, teachers in Ghana, fishermen in Indonesia. She told them not to wait for orders. Start where you are, she'd say. Share what you have. Listen more than you speak. Kayla rarely left the ship. She watched from above, silent, patient. Sometimes Lisa would find her standing at the viewport, eyes closed as if listening to the planet's heartbeat. Do you miss your home? Lisa asked one evening as they floated above the Amazon rainforest, green and alive under moonlight. Kayla opened her eyes. My home is where truth is honored. For a long time, that was not here. Now, it might be again. Lisa nodded. She had changed too. The weight she carried before, the fear, the loneliness, had not vanished, but it had softened. She no longer felt like a soldier guarding a dying light. She felt like a gardener tending a seed that had finally sprouted. One morning, a message came from Orbit 9. Urgent. Lisa opened it. A young woman named Maya, barely 20, stood on screen, eyes wide with excitement. We found something, Maya said. Beneath Geneva. Old archives, sealed before the silence. It's a recording. From the day the shroud activated. Lisa and Kayla exchanged a look. They returned to Orbit 9 within hours. In a dim room deep in the station, a screen flickered to life. Grainy footage showed a control room filled with scientists and leaders. Panic was clear on their faces. Alarms blared. One man, gray-haired and trembling, spoke into a mic. "We had no choice," he said. "The signals. They weren't human. Something was coming. We thought the shroud would buy us time. But the system locked us out. We can't turn it off from here. Only someone outside can reset it." With a pure human intent, the screen cut to static. "They were scared," Lisa whispered. "Not selfish. Just scared. Fear is not evil," Kayla said. "It is human. What matters is what you do after." News of the recording spread. Instead of blame, something unexpected happened. People forgave. They held vigils for those who made hard choices in the dark. They promised to do better. Then another message arrived. Not from Earth. From deep space, a ship, human-made, old, battered, drifted near Mars. Its signal was weak but clear. "This is the Odyssey. We left Earth before the silence. Been mining the belt for 3 years. We thought everyone was gone." Lisa's heart leapt. Survivors. Not just on Earth, but among the stars. She and Kayla flew to meet them. The Odyssey was small, patched with metal from a dozen repairs. Its crew, 12 men and women, stepped onto Kayla's ship with wide eyes and shaking hands. They had lived on hope and ration bars, listening to dead air for months. When they saw Kayla, they froze. "She's not human," one man whispered. "She saved us," Lisa said simply. The crew of the Odyssey stared at Earth through the viewport, tears streaming down their faces. One woman fell to her knees. "It's real. It's really there." Kayla offered them food, fruit that glowed faintly, bread that tasted like sunlight. They ate in silence, then began to talk. Stories poured out, of loneliness, of dreams of home, of songs they sang to keep madness away. Lisa realized then that the healing was not just for Earth. It was for all of them. Scattered, broken, but not lost. Days later, a global broadcast was planned. Not by governments, but by people. From every continent, voices would rise together in a single song. A simple melody, old and new, made of many tongues. Lisa asked Kayla to speak. "I cannot," Kayla said. "My voice is not yours to hear. This moment is yours." "But you're part of it," Lisa insisted. Kayla looked at her. "Then let my presence be enough." On the night of the broadcast, billions gathered. In cities, villages, ships, stations, they stood under open skies. Lisa stood on a hill in Colorado. Kayla beside her, cloaked in simple robes, face hidden but presence strong. The song began, soft at first, then rising. English, Spanish, Swahili, Mandarin, Arabic. Voices weaving together, not perfect but whole. As the final note hung in the air, a strange thing happened. The stars above seemed to brighten, not just visually, but as if they were listening, as if they approved. Later, alone with Lisa, Kayla removed her hood. Her violet eyes shimmered with unshed tears. "You did it," she said. "We did," Lisa replied. Kayla shook her head. "No, this was always yours to do. I only reminded you that you could." Lisa reached for her hand. "Stay, not as a guest. As family." Kayla was silent for a long time. Then she nodded. "For as long as the song continues." And so, the alien woman who remembered Earth's beauty chose to stay among those who were learning to remember it too. Not as a savior, not as a ruler, but as a friend. In the weeks that followed, children drew pictures of her, silver-skinned, star-eyed, holding a flower. Elders told stories of the quiet woman who came when hope was thin. Scientists asked gentle questions. Artists painted her in moonlight. Kayla answered with kindness, with patience, with truth. And Lisa? She walked beside her not as a hero, but as a bridge between worlds, between past and future, between silence and song. One evening, as they watched sunset over the Pacific, Lisa asked, "Do you think we'll ever be ready for the stars again?" Kayla smiled. "You were always ready. You only needed to remember that the stars were waiting not to judge you, but to welcome you home." Below, a child laughed. Somewhere a guitar played. And high above, two women, one human, one alien, stood together watching the world heal, one small act of kindness at a time. Months turned into a year. Earth was not the same as before, and that was good. The old ways, rushing, shouting, building walls, had cracked under the weight of silence. In their place, something quieter grew. Gardens in city centers. Schools that taught listening as much as reading. Laws that valued care over control. It was not perfect. There were still arguments, still pain. But now, people paused. They asked, how can we help? Before, who is to blame? Lisa lived in a small house near the Oregon coast. Kayla stayed with her, not as a guest, but as part of the home. They built it together. Wood from fallen trees, windows that faced the sea. Kayla learned to cook human food, though she still preferred fruit that glowed faintly blue. Lisa taught her how to knit. Kayla's first scarf was lopsided, but she wore it proudly. Every morning they walked the beach, bare feet in cool sand, waves rolling in steady rhythm. Sometimes they spoke. Often they did not need to. One day a letter arrived, not by screen, but real paper folded and sealed with wax. It came from a village in Nepal. A schoolteacher named Priya wrote that the children had started a star club. They met every night to watch the sky, tell stories, and leave small offerings, flowers, drawings, smooth stones for the one who returned their world. They call her the listener, Priya wrote. They say she hears even the quietest wish. Lisa showed the letter to Kayla. Kayla held it gently as if it might dissolve. I did nothing, she said. You showed up, Lisa replied. That was everything. Then came the dreams. Not Lisa's, but Kayla's. She began waking in the night, trembling, eyes wide with something like sorrow. At first, she would not speak of them. But one rainy evening, as wind tapped at the windows, she finally told Lisa. My people are calling, Kayla said, voice low, not with words, with silence, the kind that means loss. Lisa sat beside her on the porch. What do you mean? My world. It is fading, Kayla whispered. We gave too much, watched too long, loved too quietly. Our own song grew thin. I left centuries ago to remember what life could be, but while I was here, they forgot how to hope. Lisa's chest tightened. Can we help them? Kayla looked at her, violet eyes full of stars and sadness. Perhaps, but it would mean leaving Earth. Again. Lisa did not answer right away. She thought of the children in Nepal, the farmers sharing seeds, the old man who played violin in the town square every Sunday. Earth was healing. But healing was not finished. And now another world needed help. How? Lisa asked. Kayla explained. Her people, the Vera, lived on a world called Alira, far beyond the galactic rim. They were not warriors or builders. They were keepers of memory. They recorded songs, stories, feelings, not in books but in living light. But without new joy to record, their light dimmed. Their world grew cold. They need to hear a song from outside, Kayla said. Not just any song, one born of return, of broken silence, of Earth's second chance. Lisa understood. You want to take our song to them? Yes, Kayla said. But it must be real. Not performed, lived. They spoke to the World Council, not the old one of power, but the new circle of voices from every land. They shared Kayla's dream. There was no vote. Only silence, then a single voice, go, and carry us with you. People gathered in towns and cities. They sang not for broadcast, but for feeling. Mothers hummed to babies. Friends laughed over shared meals. Elders told stories under oak trees. Musicians played in open fields. All of it was recorded, not by machines, but by Kayla's ship, which drank in the emotion like rain. Lisa packed a small bag. She did not know how long they would be gone. Maybe weeks. Maybe years. But she knew this. If Earth could be saved by one act of courage, maybe Alira could be too. The day they left, thousands came to the spaceport. Not to cheer, but to stand in quiet support. No speeches, just presence. As they boarded the ship, a little girl ran forward. She held out a dandelion, its seeds ready to fly. For your world, she said. Kayla knelt and took it. Thank you, she whispered. The ship rose slowly as if reluctant to leave. Below, people did not wave. They placed hands over their hearts. In orbit, Lisa looked back at the blue planet. We'll come back, she said. I know, Kayla replied. But even if we do not, the song remains. They traveled for weeks through deep space, past dead stars and newborn nebulae. The ship carried the weight of Earth's hope like a lantern in the dark. Finally, Alira appeared, a world of soft silver forests and rivers that glowed with memory light. But the light was dim. The trees stood still. No birds sang. They landed in a clearing. Figures emerged from the mist. Tall, silver-skinned like Kayla, but their eyes dull, their movements slow. They did not speak. They only watched. Kayla stepped forward, holding the dandelion. She closed her eyes and began to hum, a tune Lisa had heard in Georgia, simple and warm. Then Lisa joined her. Not perfectly, not loudly, just honestly. Slowly, others from the ship's recording joined in. Voices layered like wind through leaves. The sound flowed across the field. One of the Vera stirred, then another. A soft glow returned to their eyes. A river nearby flickered, then brightened. A tree shivered, and a single leaf turned gold. Kayla opened her eyes. Tears fell, silver, luminous. They remember, she whispered. Lisa took her hand. Now they can begin again. And high above two worlds, the song continued, not ending but changing, growing, reaching further into the dark, reminding all who listened that no one is ever truly alone. The obsidian ship hummed as it left Orbit 9 behind, slipping through space like a thought through silence. Inside, the walls glowed faintly, pulsing with a rhythm that matched Lisa's heartbeat. There were no controls, no screens, no buttons, only smooth surfaces that responded to will, not touch. Kayla sat beside her in the cockpit, her silver skin catching the soft light, eyes fixed on the path ahead. Lisa stared out at the stars, now streaking into lines as the ship moved faster than anything human made. "How does it work?" she asked. "It listens," Kayla said, "not to words, but to intent. Your desire is the compass," Lisa swallowed. "What if I doubt? What if I'm scared?" "Then it will slow," Kayla replied. "Fear clouds truth. But you are not afraid of failing. You are afraid of never trying. That is not fear, it is courage wearing a mask." Lisa looked at her. "You speak like you know us better than we know ourselves." "We watched you for centuries," Kayla said. "Not to judge, to learn. Your species burns bright and fast. You build and destroy in the same breath. You hurt each other, then heal with songs. You are messy. And beautiful." Lisa smiled faintly. "Most people don't see it that way." "Most people have forgotten how to look," Kayla said. As they traveled, Kayla shared stories of Earth long ago when forests stretched unbroken and oceans teemed with life unseen. She spoke of standing on a hill in Ireland, listening to a bard sing under a full moon, of walking through Tokyo streets at dawn, watching steam rise from food carts as the city woke, of sitting with elders in New Mexico, learning stories passed down through firelight and time. "You were among us?" Lisa asked, amazed, not as ruler, not as teacher. "As guest," Kayla said. "We never interfered, only witnessed, until the songs grew quiet." Lisa thought of modern Earth, screens instead of stars, noise instead of silence, speed instead of stillness. "We got lost," she admitted. "Lost is not gone," Kayla said gently. "You only need someone to remind you of the way back." After hours, or maybe days, time blurred in the ship's gentle flow, they reached the edge of known space. Ahead, the void rippled like water disturbed by a stone. A shimmering barrier stretched across the sky, invisible to most eyes, but here it glowed faintly like heat haze over desert sand. "The shroud," Kayla said. Lisa's stomach tightened. "What do I do?" "Close your eyes," Kayla said. "Do not think of Earth as a planet. Think of it as a feeling, a memory, a hope." Lisa obeyed. She didn't picture cities or governments or wars. She pictured her grandmother's hands kneading bread dough, the sound of rain on a tin roof in Georgia, the first time she saw the northern lights from Alaska, green ribbons dancing like spirits. She remembered holding her brother's hand during a thunderstorm, telling him stories to calm his fear. She remembered singing off-key in the shower, laughing at herself. She held on to those moments, not as past, but as living things. The ship trembled. Blue light flared from its core, wrapping around them like a cocoon. The shroud rippled harder, resisting. Lisa's chest ached. Doubt crept in. What if it wasn't enough? What if she had forgotten too much? Then Kayla's hand found hers again. Warm, steady. "You are enough," Kayla whispered. "Because you remember love," Lisa breathed. And let go. The shroud tore open like a curtain drawn aside. Color flooded in. Green forests. Blue oceans. White clouds swirling over continents. Cities glittered below, not with harsh lights, but with the soft glow of life returning. Comms channels burst alive across the galaxy, voices overlapping in joy, confusion, relief. Earth is back, someone cried over open frequency. We're not alone. The silence is broken. Lisa's eyes filled with tears. She pressed her palm to the viewport. They're alive. Kayla watched silently, her violet eyes reflecting the blue planet below. They always were, just hidden. The ship descended slowly, not landing but hovering above the Pacific Ocean, where waves rolled gently under a setting sun. Below, people gathered on beaches, rooftops, hills, looking up not in fear but wonder. On a cliff in California, a little girl pointed at the sky. "Mommy, is that a star?" Her mother squinted. "No, sweetheart. That's a friend." Back on the ship, Lisa turned to Kayla. "What now?" "Now," Kayla said, "you remind them. Not with speeches. Not with orders. With small things. A shared meal. A story told at night. A hand held in silence. That is how songs return. Will you stay?" Lisa asked again. Kayla looked at Earth, then at Lisa. For a time. Long enough to hear the first new song. Long enough to know you are not alone anymore. Lisa nodded. She opened a channel to Orbit 9. "This is Lisa Morgan. Earth is alive. Repeat, Earth is alive. Begin reconnection protocols. Tell everyone. Tell them to look up." As the message spread, lights flickered on across the planet. Not just electric lights, but porch lights, candles, lanterns. People stepped outside. They looked at the stars, and for the first time in years they saw them not as distant points but as neighbors. Kayla stood at the edge of the ship, arms at her sides, hair stirring in the high-altitude wind. "They are singing," she said softly. Lisa listened, not with her ears but with her heart. And yes, there it was. Not one voice but millions, humming, laughing, crying, calling out into the dark, not in fear but in hope. The silence was over, and the song had just begun. Kayla turned to Lisa. "You did not just bring back a planet. You brought back a promise." Lisa shook her head. "We did it together." Kayla smiled. "Then let us listen." Below, a child on a beach picked a wildflower, yellow, bright against the green grass. She held it up to the sky as if offering it to the stars. Somewhere 300 years ago, another child had done the same. And this time, someone was there to receive it. Illyra breathed again. Slowly at first, like a sleeper waking from a long dream. The rivers glowed brighter. The silver trees swayed in a wind that carried whispers of old songs. The Vera moved with more purpose, their eyes no longer dull but curious, alive. They gathered around Kayla and Lisa not as strangers but as kin returning home. Kayla walked among her people not as a leader, but as a guide. She showed them the recordings, not just sound but feeling. The laughter of children in Brazil. The quiet hum of a grandmother's lullaby in Vietnam. The steady rhythm of hands planting seeds in Kenya. Each moment carried a spark, and the Vera absorbed it like sunlight after winter. Lisa stayed close, watching, learning. She did not speak their language, but she did not need to. She shared meals made of glowing fruit and earth-grown bread. She sat with elders who showed her how to weave light into cloth. She played simple games with young ones who giggled when she stumbled over their soft words. One evening, as twin moons rose over the silver hills, an elder named Oren approached Lisa. His skin shimmered with age, his eyes deep with memory. "You gave us back our voice," he said in careful English, learned from old human broadcasts. "I didn't give anything," Lisa replied. "I just brought what was already there." Oren smiled. "Sometimes a mirror is the greatest gift." Days turned into weeks. Illyra healed, not all at once, but in small ways. New songs were born, blending Vera tones with human melodies. Artists painted murals showing Earth and Illyra side by side, roots intertwined. Children made toys shaped like dandelions and starships. Yet Lisa felt a quiet pull in her chest. Not sadness, but longing. She missed the smell of rain on pine trees, the sound of waves on her beach, the way her neighbor, Mrs. Ellis, left fresh cookies on her porch every Sunday. Kayla noticed. "You wish to return," she said one morning as they walked through a field of memory blooms, flowers that glowed with shared feelings. "Not yet," Lisa said. "But soon," Kayla nodded. "Illyra is strong again. The song is growing on its own. We have done what we came to do." They prepared to leave. The Vera did not beg them to stay. Instead, they gave gifts, woven cloaks that warmed without weight, seeds that bloomed in any soil, a small orb that held the first new song of Illyra reborn. On the day of departure, the whole village gathered. Oren stepped forward and placed a hand on Lisa's forehead. "You are Vera now," he said. "Not by blood, but by heart." Lisa's eyes filled. She bowed her head. "Thank you." The ship lifted gently into the sky. Below, the Vera sang, a song both old and new, full of gratitude and hope. As they traveled back toward human space, Lisa asked, "Do you think Earth will remember us?" Kayla looked at her. They never forgot. They only waited. When they neared the solar system, a signal came, not from Orbit 9, but from Mars. A new station built by hands from many nations floated above the red planet. Its name, the Listener Outpost. "They named it after you," Lisa said, smiling. Kayla shook her head. "After the act of listening. Not me." They landed not at a military port, but at a quiet field in Oregon near Lisa's home. The house still stood, flowers blooming wild around it. Neighbors had cared for it in her absence. Mrs. Ellis ran out arms wide, tears on her cheeks. "You came back," she said, hugging Lisa tight. "I did," Lisa whispered. News spread fast. Not through headlines, but through word of mouth. People came, not crowds, but friends. They brought food, stories, quiet company. No one asked for grand tales of alien worlds. They asked, "Are you tired? Do you need rest? Can I sit with you?" That night, Lisa and Kayla sat on the porch wrapped in Vera cloaks, watching stars. "What now?" Lisa asked. Kayla gazed at the sky. "Now we live. Not as heroes. Not as messengers, just as people who remember." And so they did. Lisa returned to teaching, not in a classroom, but in the community. She helped young ones learn to listen, to ask questions, to care before they spoke. Kayla opened a small garden where she grew both earth plants and Ellerin blooms. People came to sit with her, not to ask for miracles, but for quiet company. Sometimes children would bring her drawings. One showed Lisa and Kayla holding hands under two suns. Another showed a dandelion floating between Earth and a silver world. Years passed. The world did not become perfect. Storms still came. People still argued. But something had shifted. Kindness was no longer seen as weakness. Listening was no longer silence. It was strength. One spring morning, Lisa found Kayla standing at the edge of the garden holding a letter. It was from the Nepal school. The children had grown. Some were teachers now. They had started a new tradition. Every year, on the day the silence broke, they released paper lanterns into the sky, each carrying a wish for someone far away. "They still remember," Lisa said. "They always will," Kayla replied. As the sun rose, painting the sky in gold and pink, Lisa took Kayla's hand. They walked to the beach as they always did. The waves rolled in, steady and sure. Far above, a ship passed, human-made, heading toward the stars. On its side, painted in many colors, was a single symbol, a dandelion releasing its seeds into the wind. Lisa smiled. "They're going out there." Kayla watched it go. "And they will carry the song with them." Neither spoke for a long time. They did not need to. The world around them hummed with life, birds, wind, waves, distant laughter. It was not loud, but it was whole. And in that quiet, two women, one born of earth, one of stars, stood together not as saviors, but as witnesses to a truth as old as time, that no one is ever truly alone as long as someone is willing to listen.